Allow me to just share my screen. All right, thank you and welcome all once again to this second part of today. As introduced by my colleague Arthur, my name is James Chirwa and I'm the head of Member Services. Member Services is a department that has three functions. Mostly is the core registry services, customer support, and also the revenue functions. I'll give a brief update on some of the progress, some of the achievement over the year, and also for the past few years. So I'll start by talking about the membership progress. Currently for this year, we've made so far 173 new resource members at least, bringing us to a total of over 2,100 members, that is resource members, but also we do have 4 associate members. This is just a trend in terms of the growth in membership over the years. So we've steadily maintained a steady growth in terms of membership, moving over from 1,900 to 2,100 from last year to this year. And we intend to build more based on the current resources that we have. So these resource members do get different kind of benefits from Afrinic. Apart from the IP number resources, they also gain other services in addition to that. Such services include resource public key infrastructure, internet routing registry that are very critical in today's world. These help members secure their routing once they get the resources from Afrinic. Furthermore, so is reverse DNS and DNSSEC. But resource members, as Afrinic is based on a bottom-up approach, resource members also get the right to attend the annual general meeting, but also get a vote to elect board members, but also have the right to vote during any governance-related resolutions that may be taken either on the floor or prior to the AGMM. So moving on from those benefits, I'll drill down now on the resource management part. That's the registry side. We in total have over 121 million IP addresses in IPv4. At present, we only have 1.2% that is available, and we've used we've allocated over 115 IPv4 resources. In 2022 alone, we've issued over 225,000 IP addresses in SACH32, that is IPv4, and we've issued at least 120 IPv6 prefix, that is if we put it at the prefix of SACH32. We've also issued out 190 autonomous system numbers, individual autonomous system numbers to our members this year. So in the present circumstance, we are in what we call the soft landing phase 2 of the IP allocation and assignment policy. The most important element to take from that is that a maximum that we can issue in terms of IPv4 at a single instance is a SACH22. That's according to the prevailing policy. However, members have the, there is the possibility that members, when they have more requirements, they can still come back and request for more. In addition to the allocation and assignment of IP number resources, the other service now that we offer is the reverse DNS. This is the mapping of IP addresses to the host names. For those who are surveyed with DNS, this is where the pointer records or the PTR records come into play. As a best practice, when you are requesting for reverse DNS, we request that you at least provide us 2 name servers, even though if you cannot afford that, a single name server is still accepted. However, as a best practice, we recommend that you have 2 name servers, but also we ensure that the name servers that you're providing us are fully functional, are saving the zone files in an authoritative manner. Simply saying they are not detected as being lame. In addition to the DNS, to the reverse DNS, we also offer a DNSSEC. I recall for those who were here yesterday, there were a few, or the past 2 days, there are a few presentations that touched on DNSSEC a lot. So mostly the main reason is to prevent injection of false information into the DNS lookup queries or responses and its data. So this is another service that we offer once you have adopted reverse DNS. You can also further implement DNSSEC. However, over the period, DNSSEC adoption hasn't really been that high, and we are looking into mechanisms on how we can help our members mostly adopt reverse DNS as well as DNSSEC. So we will be looking at coming up with sessions as well as materials that can help our members be able to adopt these services. The other service that we do provide is the Internet Routing Registry, and this also was covered in most of the sessions in the past 2 days. Internet Routing Registry can be accessed through the Afrinic WHOIS web interface, or you can also access it through the MyAfrinic web portal for members. Currently, we do have over 100,000 route objects in our Internet Routing Registry, and over 71% of our members are currently using Afrinic Internet Routing Registry. The other service is the RPKI service. This is another security framework that is implemented to prove the association between specific IP addresses or AS numbers and the legitimate custodian of those internet number resources. In our implementation of this, we have ensured that there is ample security in this particular service, and in such a way that it requires multiple authentication. So once you log into the MyAfrinic platform, you also need to either have 2-factor authentication enabled, or you need to have a BPKI, which is a Business Public Key Infrastructure Certificate. Currently, we do have just about 24% of the members that have adopted this particular service, RPKI. There is a significant growth that we are observing in the past year or so. And intentionally, our objective is to grow at least by up to 50% of the members by end of 2023, looking at how critical this particular service is becoming nowadays. So currently, we are having what we call route origin authorizations. We have over 8,000 that have been registered by our members who are representing the 24% that I said in the previous slide. So for those who want to now go further than just registering route origin authorization, but they want to do further validation, we also do have validators that we are hosting ourselves, which can be found at those two links. But also we do publish our RPKI repository on that particular site. Another service that I would just talk about relates to the IP resource transfers. So at Afrinic, we do conduct resource transfers between different entities within the region. So some transfers are based on the policy, and others are based on business needs that we consider in terms of whether there has been a merger or there's been an acquisition, anything within those circles. So policy-based transfers have to comply with policy terms that are stipulated in the Consolidated Policy Manual section 5.7. Currently, the policy itself only permits IPv4 addresses only. And we've observed over time that there hasn't been that much transfers that have been coming through this policy. Over the past 4 years since it came into effect, we've handled about 21 transfers in the aspect of policy. And in the past 2 years, it's only been 5 transfers. So it's really a low number. However, on the other part, we've really seen a growth in terms of the mergers and acquisitions. Mergers acquisition because they are based on business needs. The current guidelines accepts that once we validated such kind of merger or acquisition, all resource transfers, all resource types, IPv4, IPv6, or autonomous system numbers can be transferred between entities within the region. So over the past 2 years, we've seen an increase. For example, for instance, 2021, we had about 15 transfers, which involved over 3 million IP addresses. In 2022, we've so far seen at least 23 transfers involving about over 400,000 IP addresses, IPv4 addresses. Lastly, I'll just touch on the now service support. As you know, we collaborate with members through our support desk. And on this part, these are the statistics that we have had over the past, over this year. This is just a demonstration of the tickets that we have handled per month against also tickets that we have been resolved within the similar month. So overall, we have handled at least 28,000 tickets that have been resolved out of 29,000 tickets that we have received during this year. This brings me to just my last slide on how you can further get support apart from contacting us. We do have further FAQs on the website and other support documentation, as well as the policy manual. In addition, we also do have the some certain training materials in IPv6, WHOIS, as well as RPKI and IRR on our training portal, that is the academy.afrinic.net. We do have other ongoing measures that we are trying to improve on, which is review of the website content, as well as working on an automated assistance. Otherwise, for any other queries, you can contact us at Hostmaster@Afrinic for any resource-related queries, or at support-afrinic.net. Thank you all for your attention. I will now hand you over to my colleagues from value-added service team. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So we invite Mr. Edouard Mukasa from the value-added services department to share his presentation.
Hi, Asa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'll ask Wayne to share the presentation and then I move on. Hi, everyone. My name is Edward. I'm a software engineer from the Value Added Service. So I'll be here to give you an update of what we are working on alongside my colleague, Aaron Majambo. So let's move on to the slides. Okay, so for the first part of the slides, I'll invite my colleague, Aaron Majambo, to take you through, and then I'll come back for the second bit of the presentation for the value-added services on what we are filing. So may I invite Aaron to take you in the first part of the presentation, and then I'll come back in the second part of it. Aaron. Aaron, you have the floor. You are muted. You may have to unmute yourself, please.
So, all right, thank you, Edward. So I'm going to present an update in the Value Added Service department. My name is Aaron Majambo. I'm a software engineer in the Value Added Service department at Afrinic. The update that I'm going to talk about are mainly for RDAP services. So during the course of this year, we've been able to implement RDAP conformance, which are changes that were made to the registration data access services protocol as part of the ongoing effort to ensure enroll RDAP profile. So we have been able to implement the bulk of the corrections that were required for us to implement. We have currently received a report from Epnic. So they have developed an awesome tool that validates RDAP conformance across areas. So they gave us the report that they got from the work they did on Afrinic RDAP service. So the feedback that we got from them has been worked on, and we have implemented the improvement, and we are going soon to go live. So I'll ask Wayne to move to the next slide. So part of the ongoing service improvement and new features on RDAP, we have also implemented GS Contact, which is a JSON representation of card information data. So the bulk of the work have been implemented. So now we have the possibility to get a GS card instead of vCard format. That was the traditional way of querying RDAP data for contact information. And in progress, we are preparing a plan which includes a communication and a gradual rollout of the service. This is one of the service improvement that we had planned to work on this year that has come to completion. The next service that we have implemented, we are still implementing, and that is going to be rolled out, is also the federated authentication. What we intend to do this time is to allow the federated authentication using OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. So you know that RDAP service, there are concerns of security on RDAP services, and federated authentication is coming to address this issue and pave the way to the extension of querying data with some access credentials. So I'm inviting Wayne to move on to the next slide. So the federated authentication that we are implementing is based on an open source identity and access management system named QClock. So we are leveraging the power of this open source project in order to be able to offer security to RDAP services and WHOIS as well. And this is going to pave the way to the blocker that we had to implement additional RDAP services that require authentication and authorization, such as RDAP partial search and other reduction mechanism that we want to put into place. So these are the services that we have been working on RDAP, and that we are rolling out progressively till the end of this year. So I would invite my colleague Edward to tell you about the next services that have been implemented in our department. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ellen, for the presentation. Now, I'll pick up from here. As my colleague James mentioned earlier on in the presentation at the beginning, that one of the core services that Afrinic offers to our members is RPKI. So as the value-added service, we continually make sure that we improve these services. And one of them that we're focusing on is the RPKI, to make sure that we can include, we can add value to these services. So beginning of this year, we looked at RPKI, and there are some improvements that we set up to work on to make sure that we can improve this and, for example, improve the customer experience to our members, to make sure that we can offer more value. And one of the things that we looked at in regards to this service is to make sure that we add an API to enable our members who need to automate the RPKI service, integrate them with the application via the API. that is to perform different RPK operations like things creating ROAs and, for example, renewing them and revoking them via an API. So one of the things that we set out to do was to implement the API to make sure that members can carry out such operations. And the other things that we looked at in regards to the service was to make sure that we add some new enhancements that some members pointed out that we should include within these services. For example, things like auto renewal of ROAs. Some members who felt that maybe we should add this to those ones who need it. And there are things like that we are not offering. For example, other members wanted us to include, to offer an option for things like the delegated mode, because right now we are filing the hosted mode, whereby we are Afrinic is hosting all the signed object for all the members, but as members who would prefer to host these signed objects, and others who wanted that we also offer the hybrid mode, whereby they can manage their signed object from their side, but publish maybe in other repositories like Afrinic's repository. Then the other things that we set out to do was the GUI to give a facelift of our RPKI, that to make it more user-friendly to our members. So these are the main three things that we set out to do in regards to the RPKI service. Let's move on to the next slide. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so in regards to the changes that we, or the upgrades that we are making to, or the service that we are adding to this service, like I've mentioned that one of the things that we are working on is the GUI. So in regards to the GUI, what we are looking at was to give it a facelift for the when you go to our portal. Usually members in our hosted mode that we are finding right now, anyone who needs to perform the certification operation, they have to go to our portal, and there are things that we offer an interface where they can activate their engine, create ROAs, and maybe even revoke ROAs. So we are looking at making it more user-friendly, and then we are totally changing the user interface to make it much more user-friendly, in hope that it will also attract more members to make sure that they come and adopt certification. So this is in progress. We have done most of the stuff, and we hope that it will be released alongside MyAfrinic V2. So most of the things have been done. So when we are releasing MyAfrinic V2, you'll notice that all this would have changed. So we'll get this new user interface, which is more user-friendly than the current version that we have. And also within this new GUI, we'll have more features that we have added that will enable you to use the new enhancements. For example, like we have new workflows, like for delegated mode, if someone needs to use delegated mode. So we have an interface with a workflow that can enable a member to go through the process of specifying and then handling the delegated mode application, and then all the way through when it's approved, and start performing different operations that we have added there. Can we move to the next one? Okay, so I think I'll invite my colleague to carry on from here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Edouard. We call now Mrs. Madhvi Gokul from the Policy Development Department to share her update. Madhvi, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Arthur. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from our resource members. I am Madhvi Gokul. I work as one of my duties is the policy liaison for AFRINIC. So I'll walk you through the AFRINIC policy development in the next slides. So what are the resource policies? Resource policies are the guidelines and rules that enable AFRINIC to manage and distribute the pool of IP number resources to the network operators in its service region. It is the resource policies are also developed using a bottom-up policy development process. So what is the policy development process about? It is, like I said, it's bottom-up. So usually we would have someone, an individual or a group of individuals from the AFRINIC community who will identify a problem statement and propose a policy based on that problem statement. What happens next is that there's a discussion about these proposals on mailing list and also during AFRINIC public policy meetings. Who participates in those discussions? It is the Policy Development Working Group, who we also call AFRINIC community, okay? And who is the AFRINIC community? It's actually any individual who is interested in how AFRINIC manages its IP resource pool. So after the discussion, we have some timelines that have to be adhered to. Then there comes the time when there are two co-chairs who are chosen by the community, who they will assess whether there has been consensus on that policy by going through the discussions on the group and also during the public policy meeting. All right. And if there is consensus, then the chairs will send a report to ratify the policy to the AFRINIC Board of Directors. And once the AFRINIC Board of Directors ratify the policy, that policy proposal is sent to AFRINIC staff for implementation. Now, the consensus determination, all right, there's a poll around that. What do you think is consensus? All right, Wayne, do you mind to please run the poll? Okay, 1 minute, please fill the poll. So the question is, do you think that consensus is determined through a voting mechanism? Okay, thank you. And Paul, please. So the correct answer here is no. Consensus is not determined through a voting mechanism. So why? Sorry, I need to. Please remove the poll from the screen. All right, so the consensus determination, all right. In fact, the policy development working group chairs, they determine whether there's rough consensus among the community during the open public policy discussions, right? The consensus determination is in fact a process. The objective is to always aim for rough consensus, if not consensus, and it is not built or determined through a voting mechanism. Why? The chairs usually would look for to ensure that all objections and concerns are adequately addressed, and they look or seek consensus throughout the process, in fact, for each contentious issue. There's no voting mechanism that is applied at any point in time. And just for clarification, 100 people may be for a proposal and only 5 are against the proposal, and that might not be rough consensus, meaning that if a minority of participants have a valid objection, that objection must be dealt with before rough consensus can be declared. On the other hand, if we have 5 people for and 100 people against, there might still be rough consensus as long as there are no valid objections that have not been addressed. So the process now, so the policy development process, which brings around resource policies at AFRINIC, this started since 2005, okay? And we had policies that reached consensus at that time. And there has been an evolution in the policies over the years, okay? At the moment, and until the last public policy meeting that we had in June this year, we have had an active policy development environment at AFRINIC. And sometimes we had even around 10 policies under discussion. So there is the consultations and discussions that happen around these policies. All of these happen on a mailing list, which we call the rpd@afrinic.net. It is open to the AFRINIC community, which you as an individual or as a registered contact of your organization are part of. All the discussions are also publicly archived, and we also publish the minutes of the public policy meetings on the AFRINIC website. Wayne, please run the poll. So question to you, are you subscribed to the resource policy discussion mailing list, rpd@afrinic.net? All right. So those of you who are not subscribed to the resource policy development mailing list, we encourage you to subscribe, and you'll know the reason why as we move through the slides. So if you want to participate in the resource policy discussions, if you want to have a say, because at the end, the policies would apply to your organization because you are a resource member, you are the ones who are actually using the resources. So how you can participate is by subscribing to the list, and then you can go through the policy proposals. They are published on the AFRINIC website, and then you follow the following guidelines to comment and discuss these proposals on the mailing list, all right? So you need to mention the identifier of the proposal or the title in the subject of your emails to the list, and use the following guidelines. Are the problem statement and solution clear to you? Does the proposal solve a problem that you're experiencing? If yes, you can reach out to the community and share your situation. Are you in support of the proposal? If yes, why? Do you oppose it? If yes, you need to clearly state the objective reasons as to why you oppose. And then if the proposal can be enhanced by either removing ambiguous text or reinforcing the solutions, please feel free to comment on that as well. The authors would watch for the discussions and may amend their proposal, okay, to include some of the contributions of the community. So all the policies that are implemented by AFRINIC are documented in what we call the Consolidated Policy Manual. It is more like, it's like a booklet and contains all the policies and usually broken down into sections related to IPv4, IPv6, AS numbers, as well as transfers and also the other policies that have been proposed and implemented at AFRINIC. Any change to an implemented policy, meaning any change to what's written in that Consolidated Policy Manual, needs to go through the policy development process. And upon implementation, resource policies you will apply to organizations, operating networks that are already resource members, so all of you participating in the session here, as well as organizations that are planning to get public IP resources to connect their users or customers to the internet. So these are what we call the potential members of AFRINIC. Please run the poll. So question to you, have you read the Consolidated Policy Manual? 1 minute to answer. So we have 29 participants who participated in this poll. And out of the 29, 21 participants did not or have not read the Consolidated Policy Manual. it's fortunate that AFRINIC implements or tries to implement the policies on its systems. But for those members who have come and requested for resources from AFRINIC, the AFRINIC hostmasters usually would seek compliance. So if you have filled, for example, you have provided your IP addressing plan, okay, that is a requirement, a justification requirement that is in the policy. So we prompted you to fill in those questions, to answer those questions, so that then the hostmasters are able to evaluate the resource request and seek policy compliance. But we encourage you to actually go read through the consolidated policy manual. It will clarify some of the questions that you may have as to why you are being asked this question, or why do you have to provide this or that justification, okay? And if you don't know where it is, you please let us know. It's actually on the website. So if resource members, okay, do not participate in the resource policy development at AFRINIC, what have they likely missed? All right, let's look at some statistics which I have prepared at the end of the third quarter. We have over 1,200 of subscribers to the mailing list, and out of that, less than 100 of those subscribers are actually staff of our resource members, okay? And since 2005, the number of unique participants or posters on the RPD list has been 260, okay? And with less than 10 participants or posters with more than 50 posts per year, and these have been for the past 4 years. So what have you, as resource members, if you were not on the RPD mailing list and you did not attend a public policy meeting, all right, what you may have missed out is on the opportunity to contribute to the development of the resource policies that actually apply to your organization when you use them. And the resources are used by any resource member, right? You may be a corporate organization, and you use them on your internal network. You may use them to provide services to your customers, etc. Okay, the policies can be amended to fix a particular problem. The policy development process is in fact a bottom-up. It's not AFRINIC staff who will propose policies. Instead, someone from the community, someone from the operator, someone working for a resource member, they can propose the policy to amend a particular section of the CPM through this bottom-up principle, okay? And other operators facing the same problem can also join the discussion and contribute to refine the problem statement and solution. Who knows, maybe consensus can be reached. And if consensus is reached and the board ratifies the proposal then gets sent to the staff for implementation. Okay? So policies are implemented and all the members have to comply. Non-compliance with resource policies is also considered as a breach of the registration service agreement. Okay. And also, by not knowing about the policies, okay, members may fail to properly manage their resources and become ineligible for additional resource requests, leading to delays in getting the resources while they have customers waiting on that side to be connected. Okay? Not knowing, not participating in the resource policy discussions also lead to our members, okay, only learning about the policies that are applicable at the time of submitting the resource request. They may not understand some of the error messages when they use the Mafronic member portal, for example, when managing their resources. Okay, they may not understand the non-compliance email notifications that are addressed to them from our systems or from the host master team. So through the policy development process, we have currently, this table shows the policies that have reached consensus and where they are at the moment. So we have one policy that has been ratified by the board, the RPKI ROAS for unallocated and assigned Afrinic address space, which is currently under implementation. And we have 3 other policies. There's one policy about inter-ORIA resource transfers, another one about the abuse contact policy update, and the policy compliance dashboard that reached consensus and are now awaiting ratification by the Afrinic board. Can we have the poll, please? Okay, so these 4 policies, how many of you have read these policies that are being shown on your screen? All right, so we have 16 participants who have answered this poll. And what we can see here is that 12 out of the 16 participants read the transfer policy, the inter-ORIA transfer policy. 9 of them read the RPKI ROA policy. 6 of them read the abuse contact policy update, and 7 of them read the policy compliance dashboards. Now, we would encourage the resource members present here to actually read these policies. They are available on the website. Reason why they have to read it is because once implemented, if ratified by the board, once it's implemented by Afrinic, then they will apply to you. So you need to know what's in there so that at least you can start getting ready to comply with the policies, because once they're implemented, then Afrinic will reach out to you and say, if you're not compliant, well, dear member, you're not compliant with this policy, so please take actions to start compliance. And perhaps, sometimes the policies will have a period within which compliance needs to be sought. So that's when you will start hearing from Afrinic. So then by going through it, at least you can start getting yourself ready until such time that Afrinic has implemented the policies. All right, so where do we go from here? All right. So what's the way forward? Please put up the poll. wait, please put up the poll. Je crois qu'il y a un problème. All right, we have an issue with the poll, so I will stop sharing my screen. And so we would like to hear from you in the chat in regard to what can we do to facilitate your engagement in the resource policies, okay? Would you like regular policy proposal briefs on the website? Would you like informational webinars about the policy development process? Would you like informational webinars about the active resource policy proposals? Okay. Or would you like to receive an informational email to your email address? Or what are the other avenues that you feel that AFRINEC should use to reach out to you so that you are able to engage more in the resource policies? So on this, I would like to end my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Madeleine, for this insightful presentation. So we move now to Mr. Michel Oudou from the IT and Engineering Department to make his presentation. Michel, the floor is yours. Hello, Michel. You are muted, please. Unmute yourself. Michel, yes, you are still muted.
Okay, Arthur, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay,
Please
thank
go
you very
ahead.
much. Thank you. When, if you could please share the slides. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michel Oudou. I'm the head of IT and security at AFRINEC, and I'm going to give you an update of the projects that the IT department has been working on. First of all, the mission of the department is to manage technical resources and to provide technical assistance to the organization and to make sure that our IT services are running properly with the maximum availability and reliability. Next slide, please. Thank you. So on the operational and networking side, AFRINEC currently operates from 4 data centers, 1 in Mauritius, 2 in South Africa, Johannesburg, and 1 in Kenya. And we have been working on several critical services in Mombasa in order to have a recovery site in case something happens to our main data centers. Azure policy implementation has been one of our activities too, and we have provided some technical assistance in terms of infrastructure to the team working on this. We have also been working on some upgrade on our DNS, especially on the DNSSEC part. And as announced last year, we have started using more and more cloud-based solutions. And one of the big projects that we had this year was to move some of our collaboration tools like Confluence and Jira to the cloud, which was concluded actually successfully a few days ago. There has been also various upgrades for internal tools, operating systems, and libraries, mostly in order to provide better performance and security. And with the help of our DevOps engineer, we have started making better use of our monitoring tools to ensure better availability, but also more automation with Ansible, especially in terms of deployments. Next slide, please. Security has been a great focus for the team this year, and we have had an external IT security audit where 4 main activities were conducted. The first one was a pure audit activity against the clauses in the ISO 27002 standard, version 2022, which are the organization controls, the people controls, the physical controls, and the technological controls. And the main objective of this IT audit has been to sort of assess the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability of our data, as well as the compliance with our internal policies and procedures. The second point in this audit was the vulnerabilities assessment and implementation testing. The third activity was a cybersecurity risk assessment. And the last activity consisted in various exercises, such as a phishing exercise or various social engineering techniques to make sure that the staff is more aware of such risks. There are also been several trainings for the staff, and we have started a project to enhance the internal security and also have more security features for the staff laptops and workstations. Next slide, please. And now on the database side, we have been upgrading most of our databases to MySQL 8, and the database team has also worked on better ways to handle data deletion requests, especially to respect the Mauritian Data Protection Act. A special effort has also been done on the backups, especially for the storage. The team is currently working on having better availability for critical services databases, for example, with database clusters and proxies, to make sure that we don't have a single point of failure in terms of database. And the last thing, we are being more and more data-driven, and we have invested in business intelligence tools to make a better use of our data and also be able not only to provide better reports to the management, but also do some predictive analysis, which is useful for our objectives and KPIs. This is the end of the IT update. I thank you for your attention. Back to you, Arthur.
Thank you very much, Michel, for your presentation. Now we call Mr. Bashir Angode from the Capacity Building Department to make his presentation. Bashir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Arthur. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you properly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Bashir. I'm a trainer and also manage the certification program in the Capacity Building Department. So basically, capacity building, we do 3 main activities or 3 main major services, if you can call them that, right? The first one is we do training that is face-to-face and also online. And then we also have the certification program. So once we train you, you also have the options to certify yourself in IPv6, your IPv6 skills. Then other than that, we have the deployment support program, and I'll be highlighting this in the next slides. So the awesome guys who run this in the department. So we have Debo, our learning experience designer, Of course, there's me, then Emma, our learning analyst, Mukom, our head. Then we have Ola, a trainer, and also Willie, our DO engineer. So I'll start by, as I earlier mentioned, we have three main services, the trainings. I'll start with the trainings. So basically, I can say our existence started back then in 2009. Of course, I was not here, I'm quite new. But from 2009 till 2018, we've been doing, we did face-to-face trainings. And every year we would visit at least more than 20 countries to deliver IPv6 trainings. And as you can see, we've had close to more than 5,000 engineers, and we visited 41 countries with a median net promoter score of 75. But if you look at this, we did this till 2018. In 2017, we realized that this is not going to be scalable. So traveling to countries to deliver trainings, each country you visit, you had a maximum of 35 attendees who are attending this IPv6 training. So in a year, it means that in one country, you're going to only reach out to 35 people, okay? So it wasn't scalable. So from 2017, we decided to start the online activities or online learning, okay? So because with online learning, you have the capability of reaching a wide geographic audience. And note that we even started, the funny thing is we started doing online learning even before COVID. So we had already, it was part of our strategy to scale down the delivery of face-to-face trainings and then scale up delivery of online training. So for online learning, we're still doing it to date. We started in 2019. We have several courses. If you want to take these courses, kindly visit academy.afrinic.net, and you can even scan the QR code on your screen. So when you talk about online learning, what we've managed to achieve so far, remember we started from zero. 2017, we scaled down face-to-face training. 2019, we start online learning. We've been building up the courses one by one. So we started with 0, and currently we have 8 courses in English, e-courses, and we are in the process of translating the English courses into other languages. So far we have 6 in French. By the end of the year, we should have French done. Hopefully next year we'll have all the e-courses in Arabic. So we have the courses who are taking them. So far we've had close to 17,000 enrollments. So an enrollment basically means that you have number of students, 4,000 on your left, and these students can take multiple courses. So each enrollment to a course is, that's why we have more enrollments than the total number of students. So basically one person can take multiple courses. And the courses have a high rating, 4.7, all of them, and we have a median NPS of 52.5. So in line with that, we also decided to introduce a product called Uconnect. So this is quite new. We trialed it out this year, whereby we partner with universities to deliver our courses. So the same thing that we're doing on academy.afrinic.net, we create a cohort for an university, and then we work with the students to get them to complete these IPv6 courses. Because even as you're here, if you look at courses that are offered in most universities and compared to, let's say, certifications, they usually somehow slightly not up to standards, maybe outdated, things like that. So we try to at least partner with universities and have students taking IT courses, getting out of university, having IPv6 skills. So we've had 16 universities taking part with 254 students. So like I said, this was, we were piloting it to see how it goes. And then once we nail it down, we can learn from our experience this year, and we can be able to scale it out and reach multiple countries. So apart from the Uconnect, we also do webinars. So again, webinars, we started webinars back in 2017. We started doing 3 or 4 webinars in 2017, and 2018, we did quite a number of webinars. So this was even before COVID. And we've had more than 3,000 participants to these webinars. So I've talked about certifications. I've talked about training. So we do the training. After we do the training, we now have the option to certify your skills, have an internationally recognized certificate to certify that you indeed know IPv6, right? So far we've had, we have more than 450 questions, English and French. And we also partner with the IPv6 Forum. So our certification is recognized by IPv6 Forum. So the certificate that you get is an internationally recognized certificate. So far, we've had 170 test takers, and next year we have plans to keep on reaching out to more. If you're interested on the certification, visit certi6.io. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about the certification programs that we have. So basically, we have 2 exams currently, the IPv6 Certified Engineer Silver and the IPv6 Certified Engineer Gold. So head over to certi6.io and you can see the options available. So we've talked of training, certification. Another initiative that we started, and this came about from, we realized that as much as we are training people to be IPv6 certified, we need to go to the next level, whereby we provide guidance on how to actually implement these key technologies, IPv6, IRR, and utilize these services, IPv6, IRR, and RPKI. Because we did a survey back in 2016, if I'm not wrong, whereby we asked engineers what their key challenge was. And at the top of the list was the confidence to actually deploy IPv6 or these technologies. And second to that, I think, was about management. But the deployment support program is very key to ensuring that apart from just teaching, we also help our members to deploy these critical services. So far we have 383 milestones. So a milestone is just, for example, if you advertise your prefix, if you enable IPv6 in your DNS infrastructure, if you enable IPv6 in your core. So those are what we call milestones. And at least 59 organizations have hit at least 3 deployment milestones. So if you're in the room and you like to get support in deploying IPv6, so kindly scan the QR code and we'll be able to assist, because most of us, we've encountered members who do not even know that this option exists. And to mention that it is free of charge, right? So kindly use the services and we'll be able to help you out. So I'd like to thank you. This is the end of my presentation and hand over to Cedric, I believe.
Thank you very much, my dear colleague. So after Bashir, I invite Mr. Cedric Mbeye from the Stakeholder Development Department to give his update. Cedric, over to you now.
Thank you very much, Arthur, and thank you, Bashir. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I will talk about the stakeholder development department and what we do, especially our program related to internet development. So in the stakeholder development team, we have 4 people. We have Arthur, Brice, Wafe, and myself. And our aim is to lead Afrinic external engagement with African government, ICT regulator, educational institution, internet organization, and internet communities. And that to foster partnership toward digital transformation on the continent. One of the question is, so why are we doing all those development program? So the aim of the Afrinic Internet Development Program, it's it's our flagship community initiative. And they have been very popular toward our ICT community. And since our setup in 2004, so Afrinic has been engaged in wide-scale program to raise awareness and build capacity in internet access and development on the continent. And over the past 6 years, so Afrinic has invested in this program to sponsor more than 400 initiatives. And we have impacted more than 200,000 people in 45 African countries. And these coming years, we expect to repeat the same success because of the increase of demand that are only waiting to be addressed. Now, I want to take us through all those IDPs, so the Internet Development Programs. The first one is the Technical Community Development Program, because we believe in developing the technical communities, and we think that is part of the development of the continent. We are working with technical groups to promote internet infrastructure, stability, security, and network, and facilitate better internet accessibility. And when we talk about ICT communities, when we talk about technical communities, what we are looking at here is not only the network operator groups that we mentioned yesterday, but also all the technical communities that exist in the continent, including the one toward the open standards and so on and so forth. And so far, we have partnered with 15 regional and national technical communities groups, and this is through financial support, technical and in-kind resource, and all this to facilitate their growth and skills development. The second program that I want to talk about is the fellowship program. And here with the fellowship program, Afrinic want to offer opportunities to individuals from diverse background. And when we say diverse background, we are not only targeting the technical people, but anybody who has an interest into internet development. And what we want to do is for them to learn from the Afrinics, to participate, and learn from the Afrinic meetings. And we want the selected candidate to become part of the tomorrow leaders of the internet ecosystem. And over the past 6 years, so we have sponsored 230 fellows from 50 countries. So we are 4 countries short to do all the countries of the continent. And they've been able to attend meetings organized in Africa. And also we want so through that fellowship program, we want to give the opportunity for more prospective individuals to contribute in the awareness of the Afrinics initiative on the continent. So in short, after being Afrinic fellows, we want also them to be Afrinic ambassadors because this is also an opportunity for them to explain to those who don't know Afrinic and internet resource management, to learn about it and how they can contribute. The third program is research and collaboration program. In this program, we collaborate mainly with educational institutions, and this is to conduct technical and policy-based research in our service region. So we will support research that help network operators and end users to take appropriate decision, and also better address internet challenges that are facing that we are facing in Africa. So far, we have funded at least 10 projects with university in Africa, and we do that through sponsorship, skills development, and partnership. And part of the programs part of this program is what we do is either to support university into getting interns and working with their interns, or also support them whenever they have programs that are run and that can provide tangible input in internet development. The fourth one is diversity in ICT. When it comes to diversity in ICT, it's true that most of the time people are mainly focusing on women in ICT, which is still something very important. But diversity is actually bigger than women in ICT, because we also need to look at all the people with disability and all the minority group and see how we can also support those groups in their rapid growth, and also help them to join that rapid growth of internet usage. And so regarding this program, so we want to bridge the digital divide and leverage the capabilities of people to access, use, and develop internet. So far we have collaborated with 20+ local initiatives to advocate for more diversity in internet usage in the continent. The fifth one is now related to internet governance, so the IGF. Over the last 10 years, we all know that internet has played a major role in the growth and prosperity in areas of education. And because of that, and also because of the specificity of internet, because when you look at the way internet has been built, so since 1973-74 with ARPANET, and the way things are going right now, you can see that because it was an initiative of the technical community and the way that things have been working, we need now to be able to bridge the gap between all the stakeholders, the internet stakeholders. And the Internet Governance Forum has been that platform where all the stakeholders can come together and discuss. So you have all the technical community, universities, so education, government, providers, and so on and so forth. So all of them coming together. But one of the main challenges that we have seen in Africa is that a lot of IGF sometimes have difficulties to bring all those people together. So we are supporting them and helping them in multiple ways. So it can be the local IGF, the sub-regional IGF, or the continental IGF. And so far, we have funded more than 100 national, regional internet governance forum and other internet conferences on the continent. The sixth one, which is the Critical Infrastructure Development Program, it's our program that is toward supporting deployment and strengthening of the critical internet infrastructure in Africa. So through this program, we want to support mainly IXPs and other critical infrastructure managers, I would say, or institution, into making sure that we develop internet together and we move together for a better internet. And through this critical internet infrastructure development program, so we have provided equipment and financial support to more than 20 internet critical infrastructure on the continent to accelerate universal and affordable access to internet. I will just give you some of our statistics. So here we can see that in terms of program distribution, we have worked a lot with IGF and ICT development program, and also with technical community development program. And when you look at technical community development program, I think that I mentioned that it's actually the one covering the NOGs and all the open internet standards communities and all those technical communities that want to work on improving internet. We have also the diversity in ICT program, and it's true that it's only 15%, but we really hope to have more and more diversity in ICT program that we support, because this is really something that we need to look at. We have the fellowship program, and also some few numbers. We have 57 sponsorship grants that have been offered. We have more than 1,500 Africans that benefited from this program, and we have an NPS of 54. So meaning that we still have room for improvement. In terms of community engagement, so we made more than 70 engagement with decision makers. We have 3 new MOUs that have been signed for IPv6 deployment and IXP development, sorry. We did 15 Jenga meetings with 200 resource members. Oops. Sorry, just hold on. I need to share again my screen. Okay, and sorry for that inconvenience. We had 10 government collaboration on IPv6 deployment, and also we are working on the new AFGWG framework, which is to self-organize a fully functional working group as the others that we have. Because on this one, just to give more information, it's just that compared to the other working group that we have, which are self-organized and fully functional, or I would say self-functional, the AFGWG was so far led by us, but we want more and more the people inside that working group to be the one to take the lead and themselves drive the discussions. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I am welcoming any question, or back to Arthur. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cedric, for this update. Now we end our presentation with Mr. Stéphane Onlieu to give the update on communication on peer. Stéphane, over to you now.
Thank you also for giving me the floor. I'm Moussa Stéphane Onlieu, project manager and transformation lead at Afrinic. And today I will be talking on behalf of the communication and PR department. So, you know, the communication and PR department is like the face and the mouth of Afrinic for both internal and external communication. And for this year so far, we've been able to release 50 news and blog publications, some of them technical, and one of them with the support of external bloggers. We've released 3 press releases talking about Afrinic, our services, and some situations ongoing at Afrinic. And we've also been able to release a last year annual report. In terms of Internet Summit and other Afrinic events, During the last AIS 22, which happened in June, we had 217 participants from 47 countries. And we've support organization of other events, including Jenga and some other events from other departments. In total, a little bit more than 20. In terms of external communication, we've been able to publish 4 press releases during this year. Sorry for the wrong figure in the previous slide. Actually, it's 4 press releases, and these press releases focused on sharing updates on our activity and of the organization. And these press releases were picked up by nearly 60 news outlets around the world. All over Africa and out of Africa. In terms of social media, we've been able to do 145 unique campaigns on the 5 social media platforms, and we increased our number of followers to over 22,000 followers. In terms of website, the statistics, since January, we've been able to have a user increase of 149,000, and in terms of new users, we've had around 146,000, and the number of sessions, this is above 150% of direct sessions within our website, and around 1.2 million events will occur. The events here are basically when you visit our website and you have like a call to action, the number of call to action that we are able to record since January till now. So we've been focusing a lot in telling the story of Afrinic out there in the midst of the situations we are facing, and communicating to tell the Afrinic version of the story. So I would like to end here and pass the mic over to Arthur again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephen, for your quick presentation. Now we will take the different question and comment. So we have noticed some question. So for games, a question from Mr. Osama. When do you plan to phase out IPv4 completely? James, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Arthur. So phase out IPv4 completely, I would like to understand that that means complete deprecation of IPv4. That's my understanding. So I'll answer in that aspect. In the meantime, as you saw in my presentation, we still have roughly 5 million IP addresses, considering those that are both in reservation state as well as available state. So with the current consumption, we are looking at the next 4 years where we may still have IPv4 and with the prevailing IPv4 allocation and assignment policy. However, this cannot be taken as a full projection just because a policy may come in that may change things. So with that, a policy may change the consumption rate, which may result to either a faster or a further slower consumption. So, however, based on the current consumption rate, we are looking at the next 4 years. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Thank you, James. We have another question from Mr. Carlos. I guess it's for Bashir. Most of the host countries have been adopting IPv6 over the year, and some have 70% adoption. But in Africa, it's almost 5%. Any comment about that remarks? Bashir?
Yes, Mr. Arthur. So first of all, what I presented, right? We did a survey asking why our members were not deploying IPv6. What was the biggest barrier for them to deploy IPv6? One of them was the skills, and then also was the confidence to deploy IPv6. We started the deployment program in that line so that we can at least try to give the members confidence in deploying IPv6. So that's why the deployment numbers of IPv6 are still low. And then also, I also think because we still have some IPv4 resources, people do not have any rush or see the incentives of migrating to IPv6. As long as everything is working, it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We have another question for Edouard and Michel from Mr. Alan. I'm unsure what DNSSEC has to do with Afrinic. I don't know if it is James or Edouard or Michel. Please feel free to answer that question.
Yes, I think that actually Mr. Mark Atkins has already answered that in the chat. As he said, it is mainly to protect your reverse zones.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question from Mr. Paul Wagner. Last week there were issues with RPKI on Afrinic. New ROAS could not be created. Why was this?
I will answer that as well. Same thing. Actually, David, member of the IT staff, has also answered that. Actually, last week we have suffered an outage on our API, which resulted in some ROAS disappearing, and it is the only issue that we had recently on our API, and that issue has been solved after a few hours.
Thank you, Michel. And if there is no other question related to this presentation, we will move to the next step. Is there any question? Dear members, do you have any question related to the presentation? Okay. Okay. We have a question from Mr. Elkins. When will the policy that have been agreed upon be passed by the board? Okay. As we all know, we need the board to be reconstituted. When this will be done, I think that the policies that has been agreed by the community will naturally pass. So this is the way we can answer to that question. So, dear members, we invite you to assess this event of this conference by filling the survey that has been passed in the chat.